Transition time. What is up, everyone, and welcome to another issue of Sibling Rival-Read, the comic book club show hosted by myself, Benpai Kenobi, and my wonderful sister, Anakin Skywalker.
Hey,
How are you doing tonight, Anna?
I am good. I have a puppy on my lap. I am trudging along in life. How are you?
I'm great. I am I'm starting classes again. Learning some new stuff, getting some certifications so I can not work in an animal hospital anymore. So
Good.
yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. Pretty stoked about it. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much the news. We made it through our first 4 issues of our show.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. We're getting on to our next month of it, coming up here next week, which we announced the books that we were doing next in the last issue.
Yeah.
But I'll go over them one more time. The first book, our Marvel book, was chosen by you, and is
House of M.
House of M. That's right. Um, and so we are reading just the main story of House of M. We're not getting too crazy with oh my god with making sure that we read like every single um, side story of House of M, because obviously House of M affects the entire Marvel universe when it happens, and that would be a lot of books to read. Um, so we're following the main story, even though I know both of us would really love to include the Spider-Man arc in it.
It
Uh,
makes me cry.
we're probably going to talk about the Spider-Man arc in it, just to talk about the Spider-Man arc, um, because it's an amazing arc in that. So if you want some extra credit for the for the next issue, you can also read the Spider-Man arc of House of M. Otherwise, the main topic of our conversation is going to be the main story for House of M.
Similar to Robin Wars in that sense.
Yeah. Um, and I'm actually kind of excited. I haven't read House of M in ages, so I'm looking forward to reading it again, essentially, and seeing what I think, if it holds up.
It's definitely like my go-to comic book recommendation. So every time I recommend it to one of my friends and they start reading it, I end up rereading it. So
Understandable. Understandable. Um, and then after that, it's my pick. I chose a DC book this time, since you chose the Marvel book this time, and I chose the Paul Dini Zatanna series, which is a chonker of a of a collected edition book, but it is so incredibly worth the read, I think, in my humblest of opinions. Um, yeah, and then the next book is also my choice. So we're doing two of my books in a row.
how dare
I
you?
know. because I chose the Legends of Vox Machina Origins Volume 1 for our outside Marvel DC books, which is another. I've read that one. I have not read Zatanna.
I've
Trying to.
never read any Zatanna, so I'm interested.
Me neither.
'Cause
I've only seen her like in other books,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I always love when she joins them. I read a lot of Justice League Dark, which features Zatanna, so if that counts, then that counts.
I don't count it.
Okay, then it doesn't count. And from there, we are going to our manga of the month, which is
Uh, Witch Hat Atelier.
Atelier. Which just so you know, one thing they tell you not to do about books is to judge a book by its cover. But one of the main things that you do as a comic book reader is you kind of look through and you look at the covers and you judge it. Um, so looking at Witch Hat Atelier's cover, I'm really excited to read that manga just because of how
So
gorgeous that cover
art.
art is. It's so good. It is.
I know.
It
I'm really
really
excited.
is so good. But yeah. So those are going to be our next four books. So we're going to be talking about House of M next Monday. So make sure you guys are prepared for that. And let's talk about our random comic book topic of the month.
Okay, and then at the end, are we going to talk about who won?
Yeah, we'll talk about who won at the end. We gotta keep
Okay.
people hanging around.
Just I want to know. Okay.
So one of the things that I want to do at the end of each of our four book runs is I want to just talk about a general comic book topic. And I thought a fun one to talk about this time around, um, since it's becoming a lot more prevalent, especially when you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. The next things coming out are mostly shows on Disney Plus, and there are a lot of them coming out, like
Yeah.
so many. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about what you thought was better between better for comics. Is it are the movies better or are television shows better? And
I
obviously,
personally,
it's a very very big question, um, with lots of things to kind of get into. But just right off the bat,
okay,
what?
as like a blind.
Hold on, I lost your audio. I lost your audio. Anna, your audio's not there. Hello, hello, Anna, Anna, stop talking. Stop talking, Anna.
Yeah.
I lost your
Yeah.
audio.
Now?
Now I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
movies or or TV shows. I'm sorry.
can I talk?
Yes, you can.
You can hear me still? Okay.
I can hear
I was gonna say that I think that comic books by nature lend themselves more so to TV shows
you.
just because of how episodic they are in terms of the issue releases and then so like seasons and things like that. And each kind of thing can cultivate it or accumulate into a volume, and the volume could be a season. So it kind of just lends itself really cleanly to be that way while still having your attention.
I agree. So I'm I am a huge supporter of the fact that more of our comic book content in the cinematic world should be television shows because you're right. you know, what if you're used to reading comics, you kind of you're used to waiting, depending on the hero that you're reading, once a month or twice a month. Like if you're reading Batman or Spider-Man or one of the big hitters in a as far as series goes, those
Mm.
you'll have two books come out in a month. But usually you're waiting for one book a month. Um, and I think television shows like can really bring that more to light, kind of like comics do.
Yeah.
I think the flip side to that is you know where the TV shows are like an issue to issue run of a hero, in my opinion.
Mhm.
You can kind of look at a movie as though it's a trade paperback.
Yeah, and so for some things I like it, and I mean, there's cases in
Mm.
both where I did not like this TV show, but I really liked the superhero for and its comic and things like that, and there are others that I can say the same thing with the movie, is that it was either a hit or miss, and I think a lot of it does have to do with how the writers kind of decided to go about it, and the director and the producer and all of them, because, I mean, in a lot of cases, especially with the movies, they're no longer comic book content, but rather comic book inspired.
Yeah.
Like, because it becomes so loosely based. Or
Okay.
not, I mean, it doesn't have to be so loosely based, but I mean, there is no aside from the animated ones with DC,
Uh-huh.
I don't think I can look at a Marvel movie and go, "Oh, yeah, this is totally this and this issue of Iron Man," or anything like that.
Right. I do think you can identify them. It is a lot more. You're right. It is a lot more loosely based on this, because like you can look at. Oh my God, there's like, uh, gosh, I don't. You can look at the was it I think it was the third Iron Man movie that had Extremis. And I mean, Extremis is a comic book arc. It's just very different than what the movie ended up being.
Exactly, and so not that it's bad or anything like that, it's just because it's such a different interpretation, it's either like a hit or miss, and a lot of people's kind of preferences going into movie versus TV show is if they wanna see something that's closer to what they've read, then it might be more applicable to a TV show,
Mhm.
potentially. I personally, like, the only one that I can think of for some reason right now is Green Arrow, and I don't read Green Arrow comics. So to know how true any of those storylines came about.
Yeah, and chat brings up a really good point because Monkey brings up also the Mandarin character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe versus the
Mhm.
comic. I completely forgot about the Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
I remembered that was the one that I remembered because he was funny.
He was funny, but that was such a disappointment because of how big a villain the Mandarin is to Tony Stark
Yeah,
and Iron Man in general, and it was just like, what?
like, totally written off.
Yeah, exactly. It was a red herring for the previews. It seemed like
For and
and like as frustrating as it can be, there are things that I think Marvel does right when it comes to those movies, or movies in general. It's they do take a loose story, or they take a story and they loosely base a movie off of that story, and
Mhm.
it's good for people coming in and watching. Um, kind of coming in and watching something with no information about what comic books are. And it kind of like removes a lot of the super hokiness of comics by doing that, while
Yeah.
still giving people who are diehard comic book fans little like Easter eggs of things in them. Um, and Monkey also brings up and glossing over World War Hulk in the latest Thor movie, which is loosely what Ragnarok was meant to be based off of as well.
I did not.
Um, we'll have to read World War Hulk. That'll have to be one we add to our list,
Okay.
um, because that one's a good book. Um, but you look at the stories that are being told in the movies, and then I look at like the Netflix series for Daredevil. I
Haven't finished that.
could not think of a better way to get to know Matt Murdock and the way Daredevil is
Mhm.
than with that TV show.
I think it looked beautiful, and I mean, I've only watched, the first season just because they were such long episodes that it was hard for me when they came out to carve out the time for it, so that's something I should go back
You
and finish watching.
you definitely should, because up there with Spider-Man, Daredevil's like my next favorite um, Marvel hero. Thor's working his way up for me right now, though. I'm I'm
Really?
I'm getting into some really I'm getting into some Thor stuff. And I'm gonna be honest. The only reason that Thor has been interesting to me is because of the movies.
Oh,
Rune King Thor. I'll have to write that down.
I'm excited for the Loki show that's coming out. I think I was more into Loki's character than Thor's character in terms of the movies.
Uh-huh. I just I like the I like the Norse mythology aspect of it. We talked about it.
Mhm.
I can't remember if it was actually on a Rival-Read episode or not, but the
No, it was after we watched Wonder Woman.
that's right. Oh, such a great film. Wonder Woman 1984, best film of 2020. But like one of the things that I love about Thor is the Norse mythology, and it's kind of one of the things that intrigues me about Wonder Woman as a whole as well,
Mhm.
because of the Greek mythology aspect of it, and I really like the tie-in in a way where it's like, hey, you know what? Let's make this mythology and in this world make sense and make people not seem completely crazy in ancient times, by making them actual heroes or villains, in the case
Yeah.
of Wonder Woman. And I think it's a fascinating dynamic to bring both of those things um, into the world of comic books, where anything is possible to begin with. So yeah, if you've got, a woman wearing a red, white, and blue corset flying and beating the shit out of people, why couldn't there be Zeus and Ares and you know
And just mythology on its own, a lot of people, I feel like, I guess it's probably gonna sound silly because I guess I'm really only basing this off of you and I, but you and I are both really into different countries' mythology,
mhm.
um, and we're into comics, so I was gonna be like, I feel like they go hand in hand, especially with the fandoms, and I'm like, well, I guess I really can't say that for sure because that's only a you and I thing.
Monkey is asking if we know the origin of Wonder Woman's costume. I do not know the origin of Wonder Woman's costume, but I'm not.
I can honestly say I don't. I did, have an article saved for forever ago for different superheroes' origin, like, costuming, because 'cause I'm a costume major,
uh
but I hated Wonder Woman for so long.
and that's reasonable. But, like, to me, she's the female version of Superman.
Okay.
So it's like, you're just Okay, cool. You're bulletproof and you're an invincible woman. That's great. I'm really proud of you, but you have boobs, so that makes you a little more interesting than Superman.
Okay.
I'm just saying from my perspective.
Uh,
um
yeah.
so
I mean,
oh,
it
so
still
Wonder
came down.
Woman's an ambassador to the USA, so she wears their diplomatic colors as a sign of respect. I think
Cool.
I did know that. I think that might be something that they touch on in New Frontier. You should read New Frontier also. New Frontier is really good.
That's in a case. I'm not getting that down. I was gonna be like, I wonder if that's in the book. It's in its like fancy case. I'm not.
And that's one that DC did a um uh they did what's it called? One of the animated movies.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
They did a New
yeah.
Frontier animated movie.
Yeah. I know and it had like the older style animation cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um
really enjoy the animated movies, especially from DC.
oh, it was brought up in New 52 as well. So that's actually probably where I got it. Because I did read the first 5 issues of every hero in the New 52. Uh-oh, Anna froze. Can I still hear Anna though? Yes, I can. Okay. Um,
I was gonna say that I have not read all of them from the New 52.
I did just because that New 52 was when I was really trying to branch out and read DC comics more
I know, you know how I know?
because I've
Because
got like the first 5 issues of every.
and then nothing else.
I
And
know.
you also know that you didn't consistently buy the first 5 issues digitally, that it hopscotched between in hand and digital. So that meant that I had issues like 1, 2, and 5.
Yeah. Sometimes it just worked out where I was able to get a better deal on the physical copy. The physical copy should come with a code so you can get them digitally too. But I'm just saying.
It
Um,
was another way to kill me while I was down in college.
I'm sorry. You've been watching WandaVision though.
I only watched the first 2 episodes. I have not watched the last one because the last one, when everybody else watched it, was when I was watching Your Name with everyone virtually. But have you watched any
I
of it yet?
I have not, but I'm curious to hear your non-spoiler thoughts on it so far.
um, so because I've only watched the first 2 episodes, Sarah was saying that this third one gets super interesting. Um, I have a lot of theories, and it's visually a lot of fun.
That's kind
Um,
of what I keep hearing is like people saying things like it's weird, but I like it.
and I really do though like the visual elements of the show, and I mean, I Love Lucy
Yeah.
when we were kids, and um,
Monkey
the
is
first
saying Wanda is
episode
such a wildly powerful character. It's insane.
she's awesome,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for everybody to read about her in House of M. But
Yeah, same. It's I know we didn't time it like this purposely, but it's working out in our favor that House of M is going to be our first book right after WandaVision comes
yeah,
out.
and I mean, once we get more into this show and once we've read that comic, I thought it might have been along the lines of House of M in terms of the show's basis in reality.
Uh-huh. No, I can understand that.
Um, I don't think that's how the show or is going to continue personally, but It's super interesting. I did read a couple articles after watching the first 2 episodes about, like, pointing out really small tidbits,
Mhm.
um, to kinda get a better idea of how it's gonna move forward, but this doesn't give anything away because I mean, it's probably, like, a known thing at this point. So each episode is, like, going through a different decade television-wise.
Okay.
So the first 2 episodes were very I Love Lucy,
Uh-huh.
and then it ends, and now the next one, I guess, is in the '70s.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm saying I guess it's in the '70s is only because, an artist that I follow on Instagram posted a photo or, like, an illustration of Vision looking like he's wearing '70s clothing.
So
So I
you
could be wrong, I haven't watched the 3rd episode,
fair enough.
but I
So
want you to watch it just so I can, like
no, I'll try to I'll try to watch it this week so that so we can talk about it off air essentially.
yeah.
um but yeah. So um
I'd
I'm
love to read a comic that evolved like that show.
I I would not doubt that it exists.
No, just, like, the color-wise. The
Oh,
color
okay.
theory in the show more so than anything else.
All right, all right. And Monkey, we definitely could use some manga recommendations.
I
100%.
have a huge list! But yes, we
No,
could.
no. I mean, I want to take recommendations as well for when I
I
have
know,
to
I'm
choose stuff.
I was just giving I was just being mean. But, to pick this one, I had to do so much research, so all the recommendations oh, man.
Um, so do you think this is a good start for Marvel's Disney Plus shows?
Yes? Sure.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I'm still intrigued enough to continue watching. I'm not I'm not so invested that I am waiting by the TV come, midnight or whatever, whenever the show
Yeah, yeah,
premieres
yeah.
into it, but I haven't really found many shows that are like that anyway anymore, so
No, and that's kind of the beauty of these streaming shows is that yes, I really do want to watch it, but there's nothing that I want to watch badly enough that I'll be up at midnight to watch it
okay, I was this close for a TV series that aired on Netflix to do that, and then I found out that it doesn't actually come out,
at midnight.
at midnight our time, it comes out midnight California time, so it didn't come out here until
3
3 AM.
a.m. Nice. Um, are there specific shows that you're looking forward to coming out? Like looking at the list of Disney Plus shows, Loki is the number one for you.
Loki is the number 1 for me, mostly because I really enjoyed his character,
Hmm.
and the more and more I read about, like, people's opinions and people critiquing, the Marvel universe, especially the cinematic universe, I'm, like, even more into, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I love Tom Hiddleston, and he's pretty to look at too.
it's pretty
If you're into that.
yeah, he is very pretty, and he seems like such a nice person. What was I Googling? I was gonna Google list of
Yeah,
Marvel
so
TV shows.
I am actually really looking forward to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. Just because Daniel Brohl, the actor who played Baron Zemo in Age of Ultron,
Mhm.
is coming back for that. Oh
I
no, no,
liked their
not Age of Ultron. He was in Civil War. He was
I like the
the villain in
character
Civil War.
chemistry.
He was
Mhm.
from Sokovia, but he was in Civil War. But he's a character that I'm looking forward to uh kind of seeing more. Um and I'm also interested in um Loki's return. Like obviously, I know how they're bringing Loki back because he stole the Tesseract again and noped out of there. Um, but because of the way that time works in this universe, I'm curious if that means that Loki is back in like the prime timeline that we've been watching or not. Because at the same time,
I
because
thought he wasn't.
well,
That'd be
so
interesting though to bring him
in
back.
in in that going off of that theory, Captain America shouldn't have been at the end of Endgame either. Like Steve shouldn't have shown up
That's
at the
true
lakeside.
too.
So
Yeah.
that's where I'm kind of confused because they spent a lot of time saying like, no, if we can't go back and kill baby Thanos because that wouldn't change our future. Um, but yet Steve went back, stayed with
Peggy.
Peggy, and still ended up at the side of the lake.
That's true.
So
I didn't even think about it that way.
like I'm not. It's the one and only plot hole that when Lee and I rewatched all the Avengers movies, I was sitting there and I was like, wait, huh? Something's not right here.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see if this is just going to be an alternate timeline or what Loki is going to be doing in this show. So I am excited about it.
Yeah. Uh, so this show I didn't know was happening, and I don't really know what it is.
Which one?
What if?
Yeah. So it's an animated series. What If is going to be an animated series that features the Watchers.
But I mean, all of the and here it has the cast as the actual cast.
Right. I imagine they're going to
So
be
I guess they're
voices in
doing,
it.
yeah, but I'm like, damn.
But yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. It's the Watchers and in um in the Marvel universe, the Watchers are like eternal beings that just
Talk to
legitimately
the
just
family.
watch everything. Isn't What If essentially Tales from the Multiverse? I think that's probably what it's going to be. Um, so I think it'll be neat. It might be a good way for us to kind of see some more Spider-Man universe stuff.
Yeah, oh my god. Um, what would be adorable then is if they did, a thing similar to how they did Flash, where they had the different
Ed
universe
Riley, best
Flash
Spider-Man.
come in. Oh my god, I love him and I don't remember his name.
Say the sentence again.
There was a Flash episode for like a multiverse kind of plot line where another Flash comes in, but it was the actor from the movie Justice League.
Oh, yeah. Uh, Oh God, what is his name?
I know, but I love him and I can't think of his name.
Ezra? No, E-
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. Thank you.
Yeah, but and so if they did it that way for a Spider-Man thing, it would be adorable.
Wait, they did that in the Flash show? I need to watch the Flash show
Mhm.
again.
I haven't seen that's the only episode that I, like, really wanna watch again or watch. I never saw it. Um,
So
yeah.
up until like Disney Plus and all of that, I guess up until the Netflix series, well, even with the Netflix series, I felt that DC did a much better job at the live action shows.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Arrow for the amount of time that I watched it. I really enjoyed Flash.
I did get
I liked Supergirl too. I only watched
weary.
a few seasons of each one, but
Yeah, I did get, like, weary with Arrow after a while, and then, just because of that, then I started falling out of Supergirl and Flash because they do have quite a few little moments of
Like
crossing. Yeah, then,
crossover
like,
stuff.
me not watching Arrow threw
Yeah.
off what I understood about the character coming in every now and then. But out of those three, Flash was the one I think I enjoyed the most, then Green Arrow, and then Supergirl. But I
Yeah.
was never, like, a huge Supergirl fan, so that's
No,
probably more it than anything
I
else.
really liked Melissa Benoist as Supergirl. She was just
She was awesome because she wasn't.
adorable.
She was, and I mean, the Supergirl that you read often in comics is super hot-headed and super
Yeah.
annoying.
Whereas like she was a lot humbler in what I watched, and I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Um and like Agents of Shield I enjoyed, and I always loved like the moments where it crossed over with the movies, but
Yes.
I didn't find it as good as what DC was doing at the time.
I think its best season was its first season.
Yeah, maybe like the first two seasons. I enjoyed the second season as well, where it really brings up the Inhumans more.
But then it starts going into very heavily into the Inhumans, and then it kind of veers
Back.
from where I stopped, it then veered into such a point where it was only about the Inhumans, and then
Yeah, okay.
it
It
became this
does.
subplot for SHIELD, so it was like, "Okay."
So I started watching it again. And I just got to the point where Ghost Rider is in it. There's like 3 episodes in the beginning of the season that I'm on where Ghost Rider is there.
What season are you on?
I have to look. I think it's season 4. Maybe it's season 5.
I think I only watched till season 3.
Yeah. So I finished, I think, season 3 because I think season 3 was where you met the Hive, where essentially Grant comes back and is this all powerful inhuman and can control inhumans and things like that. But
Uh,
it
I do not think that happens in season. Yes, it does.
does happen in season 3.
Yes, Hive happens in season 3.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I'm on season 4 then.
Wow, so I don't think I finished season 3.
Um,
Wow, they're so much longer than I remember them.
yeah, they're still going too.
Oh my god.
And then like Netflix came out and they did Daredevil, and I thought Daredevil was amazing, and I was like, this is going to be the turnaround point for DC shows. And then Jessica Jones came out, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is really good content. And then I think Iron Fist came out right after that, or season 2
Nice.
of Daredevil came out, something like that. And regardless, Iron Fist came out, and I was incredibly disappointed with Iron Fist.
Did you ever watch Luke Cage?
Yeah, I watched Luke Cage also, and was equally disappointed by that.
I didn't
And
watch any of the characters I didn't know because I mean,
well, because I
like,
wanted to watch the Defenders then also. Like I wanted to know as much as I could about all of them.
mhm,
And I don't know, like I feel like honestly, I think the thing that Luke Cage and Iron Fist were missing were good villains. Um, like the Kingpin in season 1 of Daredevil was, I
awesome.
think, honestly, I think might be the best villain in any comic book TV show at the very least. Like that actor did such an amazing job with the character. Um, and then um, Kilgrave in Jessica Jones was also amazing.
I didn't watch that one either, but that
You
one I did have
should
on my
watch that
list.
one.
Yeah, that one I have on my list.
Um, but yeah, and then the rest of it was like meh, and I was like, okay, so that's fine, Marvel. You know how to do your movies. You seem to not really know how to do the uh, the TV shows, and I'm really hoping that with all of these Disney Plus shows, that that's going to change. Um, I'm really excited because Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Matt Murdock in Daredevil, is going to be in the next Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you sent me an article about it.
So like some of my favorite Spider-Man comics are ones where he teams up with Daredevil.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm really stoked about that. Um, Obviously, I'm stoked about the potential Spider-Verse aspect of it as well, with all the rumors of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and all of that being in it as well.
'Cause that
Even
would just be so fun,
uh,
and I like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
I did too. I did too. I think the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was super underrated. Um,
I agree. Like, I totally do understand and appreciate this one, and I know that a lot of people prefer this one to any of the others.
yeah,
I I think I just prefer this one and Amazing Spider-Man over the Tobey Maguire ones. I think
yeah,
that's where my threshold is. As long as they're better than those ones, I'm happy.
yeah. Like I have to go back and watch those again just to see if my dislike for them still stands because like my only thing with it is I didn't feel like it was super true to Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But I'd be willing to watch it again to see if my opinions changed at all. Um,
I like James Franco in those movies.
yeah, it's all right. Um, the other Disney Plus show that I'm looking forward to is the Hawkeye one.
I I'm excited that he's getting his own show because I think his character is more interesting than what people gravitate towards in terms of, like, the characters that they like the most in the movies.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited to see them delve more into that character because I think he's an underrated character.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then I think that the two shows that I'm most looking forward to are the ones that don't like really have a release date yet, and that's She-Hulk and Moon Knight.
I'm not excited about Moon Knight.
How
Man,
are
I
you
hated watching
not?
that movie.
Oh God. I mean, the movie, you're right. The movie is awful. Absolute trash. But Moon Knight is such a cool character. It goes back into that whole like mythology thing. Like where you've got Thor for your Norse mythology, you've got Wonder Woman for your Greek mythology, and you've got Moon Knight for your Egyptian mythology.
All I can think of is dad making me watch the movie. So
Uh,
maybe I'll just need to read a couple comics before sitting down to
okay,
watch it.
so I do have I'll put together a couple of Moon Knight stories for us to read on the show because it's such a neat it's such a
We
neat
all freeze?
character. Um, can you hear me though? Yeah. Hello? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I think I died to Anna.
Oh, yay!
Okay. I think the really cool thing about Moon Knight is he suffers from multiple personality disorder. And it's just oh, it's so cool. And um Oscar Isaac is reportedly going to be playing Moon Knight. And I love Oscar Isaac. I love me some Poe Dameron. But
He was fun.
She-Hulk I'm really really excited for uh on the show front
Mhm.
because yeah, I'm excited because like she ends up being a lawyer to like most superhuman related cases.
Yeah. I read She-Hulk comics, not many, but I have read them. Because she
Um,
was, like, a female superhero that I thought was cool.
yeah, and then what was it? Red She-Hulk was cool too. Um, Not as cool as She-Hulk. I just like Red Hulk isn't as cool as Hulk.
Hulk.
But yeah, so like that I'm excited about. I'm excited to see the Ironheart show, the I Am Groot miniseries. Um,
I I'll be excited when it comes out. Right now, I'm kind of like, "Eh," just because I have no idea what they're gonna do with it. I think it'll be adorable.
yeah, to me like a miniseries, it sounds like it'll be a couple of like 10-15 minute vignettes of Groot.
Oh my god, I watched on Disney Plus, they have, like, a thing about going into the superheroes.
The Legends?
Yeah, that's a good miniseries.
Is it? I haven't watched it yet. I
Mhm.
keep looking at it and saying I'm going to watch it. Monkey brings up the was it Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings um coming out, and that is also going to have, is that going to have the Mandarin? Because it should have the Mandarin.
These are all things that Anna does not know.
Considering we're talking about the Ten Rings, I feel like it should have the Mandarin, but probably not the Iron Man 3 Mandarin. Maybe they'll address that. Um, and then movie wise, I can't wait for Miss Marvel and Thor: Love and Thunder.
I am really excited about, Thor, and I'm just excited to see Miss Marvel in a movie.
Yeah,
So, um, yeah, I am excited to see that superhero come onto the screen.
I did
I'm
not know
interested
that
to
Christian Bale was going to be the villain in Thor: Love and Thunder.
I didn't either, that's great.
That's gonna be awesome. Um, but I'm excited about Natalie Portman as female Thor. I'm stoked about that, and I'm interested to see how they do Black Panther too.
I hope that they do it with Sherry.
I think they're supposed to.
I think there's, like, a rumor that it's gonna happen, but I don't think it's been confirmed by anybody that it's happening.
Gotcha.
I think that's more where I'm at, but yeah, uh, that was such a beautiful movie, and it won best costumes.
The costumes in that were really good.
They were.
Ooh,
They were.
and Doctor Strange multi in the Multiverse of Madness. Um, I'm
I really
excited
liked
about
his
that.
first movie, so I'm just excited that he's getting another movie.
Yeah. It really only makes sense to have Shuri take over as Black Panther. Yeah, I agree. I
I agree.
think they've confirmed that Shuri is taking over as Black Panther. I
I
hope.
haven't read anything, like, since his passing, and it was just that a bunch of people were saying she better be the one to take over type of a thing.
I kind of hope they buff Shuri's actor a little more though. Like we were watching Endgame, and she walks out, and the first thing I notice are her toothpick arms in those
I know.
massive gloves, like gauntlets. I'm like, oh no, she gonna beat you with the toothpicks.
I will say something that I'm, hoping that still happens to some degree is that in the Black Panther movies or in the Black Panther franchise, they're gonna introduce a Storm-like character.
Well, so Disney owns Fox now,
I know.
so the X-Men should be coming in.
Yes, but they already fucked up the X-Men with saying that Wanda was an experiment, just like Wolverine or Captain America.
I think that can
Or
be
Captain America.
very easily. I think
I
it could.
I don't think that ruins the X-Men. It doesn't take away mutants or anything like that. I'm just bitter because
So my theory is that in the new Marvel universe where the X-Men get to be around, is that Wanda is going to be the catalyst that triggers the X gene in humans across the world.
Ah,
Kind of like a reverse House of
Earth.
M.
Yeah, I dig it.
Deadpool has a time machine now, so he can fix it. Don't worry.
I know this
Um,
will never happen, but I would love to see Spider-Man in a Deadpool movie.
why wouldn't it ever happen? I could see that
Rating.
totally happening.
But the rating for the movie being rated R, and then you're gonna have little baby Hiddleston? Or not baby Hiddleston.
Well, so
Holland?
I could see them making the movie PG-13 and Deadpool still trying to be rated R, but it gets censored and him being like, "Wait." And then he tries to say like drop an F-bomb and it still just doesn't work. He's like, "What is this bullshit?" Like that's what I could if Disney were to do that, that's how I could see it working. Because I mean, he's a fourth wall breaking character all the time.
He is. He's such a fun so fun. But, Disney doesn't own Deadpool.
Deadpool's owned by Fox because it's an X-Men franchise.
Yeah, but for
Anna,
some
Disney
reason,
owns
I thought
everything except for your own soul.
yeah. But what I was saying was I thought that they didn't I don't know, I guess I was way off because I thought there was, like, a whole reason why none of the X-Men characters showed up in any of the Deadpool movies.
Except for Colossus and
Uh, Colossus wasn't in the, X-Men movies,
yes, he was.
not the new ones, only, like, that very end.
Oh, that's right. Don't
He is an
talk bad about the
X-Men.
mouse. You won't know if they're watching. It's true.
And then same with the girl, she wasn't in any of those movies.
Colossus was in the second X-Men movie.
Are you talking about the original X-Men movies?
Yes, but it's the same. I think it was the same actor.
I don't think it was the same
It
actor.
might not be.
And I mean, I only
I
remember
might be making that
seeing
up.
Colossus at the end of, uh, the one where Wolverine travels back in time. Because then you see Kitty and he's there. If they could, though, continue with the X-Men, I really wanna see Lockheed. He would be adorable.
I really want. So, what X-Men would you want a new X-Men? Would you want them to somehow bring in the current world of X-Men? Because I mean, Multiverse of Madness could be where they bring the X-Men back too, if you think about it.
Yeah, I really am not super picky, like, I enjoyed the First Class cast,
Underrated movie,
um
First Class. I really
yeah,
enjoyed that one a lot.
I did too. I mean, the thing is, looking back on, like, the other X-Men movies, like, I'm kind of, like, about just as an overall
Uh-huh.
feeling, I'm kind of indifferent about. So, I mean, if they didn't bring back
Killed Darwin though. Yeah.
I think that they would need a new Kitty Pryde because Elliot Page is too old now to be a high school student.
This is true.
Um, as are all of the others. So, I mean, they're in, Umbrella Academy. So, I mean,
Yeah.
not that that really matters, but if they wanted to bring them back then and playing a Kitty Pryde that's the professor,
Uh-huh.
they
Maybe.
could.
I could see them
I wasn't a
bringing
huge
Kitty
fan,
Pryde
though.
is definitely waifu material. Yeah, I agree.
There was a story arc where, Kitty Pryde dated Peter Parker.
I know.
I didn't read them.
Mm, it's mm,
She dates everybody.
she's kind of a slut. I'm just kidding.
I said dates everybody?
I mean, what happens between the pages is none of our business. Um, because there's also like Kitty Pryde also gets with Star-Lord
Yeah, but they were engaged. That was
and
serious.
and Nightcrawler and
Bobby.
Bobby. Yeah. I would kind of like to
Cyclops.
see a new X-Men cast.
Yeah, I also wasn't a huge fan of Elliot Page's take on Kitty, because Kitty seems like such a happy character,
Yeah, I agree with that.
and she was very bland
Yeah,
in the movies.
I agree. Maybe they bring in a Jubilee instead of Kitty Pryde.
No, not instead of, just in addition to.
Give me Gambit. Yeah, give me a Gambit that's not Channing Tatum.
That was
Get those
fun.
rumors out of here. That movie never
Um,
happened, right?
no.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if it actually never happened or if I just blocked it out of my brain.
No, it never happened. However, for X-Men,
I could
I was
also
gonna
see Hugh Jackman coming back and doing like a Wolverine in the X-Men kind of thing.
I, like, can and I can't all at the same time.
Okay.
Mostly just because, if you listen to him talk about what he had to do for that role for the years that he was doing it, he seems so relieved to be able to eat, like, a
Whatever he
cheeseburger
wants.
instead of chicken breast every day.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
maybe that Wolverine wouldn't have to be so yoked.
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, maybe it's just really like a one-off episode thing where he comes in at the very beginning of a season and the very end of another season, and,
Yeah.
um I was gonna ask you though, how do you feel in terms
My God, I actually don't want X-Men to be a movie. I want it to be a live action show on
yeah.
Disney Plus. I didn't
Yeah, but,
even
like,
think of that.
yeah, that's what I was
Hmm.
just gonna get at!
Sorry.
I was gonna ask you about, the older Disney, or not, they're not Disney, but they are now, TV shows as opposed to what they are now being live action. Because, like, you and I really liked the animated ones. So if you
Yeah.
just took the writers of the animated ones and made the TV shows.
You've got yeah, so maybe for like X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men, going back and rewatching the like early 90s X-Men animated show?
No.
No.
But Wolverine and the X-Men, I think that Disney could seriously just pick it up where it left off and do a
Hmm.
continuation,
Yeah, I
because
would dig that.
they queued it up so nicely for a second season.
They really
Uh,
did.
X-Men Evolution ended well.
Yeah,
Like, they
I
obviously
agree.
didn't get canceled, they just ended the
Still,
show.
it still holds up, the 90s show. When was the last time you watched the 90s X-Men Monkey? Because like you could sit there and Cyclops talks like this all the time. Okay,
I
okay.
really
Last week. It holds up for nostalgia,
and I
for
mean, it holds
sure.
up in terms of, like, they had Jubilee.
Yeah,
None of the others did. Gambit's character was really well done.
yes. The character arcs in that show were awesome.
Mhm.
And Rogue, yep. Yeah, all the character arcs in that were really, really cool. I will give you that. They told really good stories, but the voice acting in it is really cringy to go back and watch for me. When
There
there
was
is
no Kitty Pryde.
there was no Kitty Pryde.
I don't remember Nightcrawler being a character.
He showed up for a few episodes
Well,
because
that's true.
he showed up for a few, like maybe a season. I have
Something
to go
else I
back
think
and
would
watch.
be cool is if they did an Excalibur show.
Ooh, yeah, that would be cool. I like how I was like, oh, the Phoenix Force arc was so good. Yes, they're Phoenix. They're. I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
I love like anytime the Phoenix Force comes into the comics, I also really enjoy. Like that was the catalyst to Avengers vs. X-Men also.
That
Isn't
was a
it?
yeah, it was good.
I have to read that one again because I think I
I
enjoyed that. I like the lead up to Avengers vs. X-Men, the X-Men Schism.
I do too, and
Hmm.
I liked that story arc going into the other issues. Like other comics, you very much feel that tension and
Yeah,
the
100%.
polarity, the
God,
pol.
talk about like an entire universe arc. If you tried to read, it's kind of like Civil War. If you try to read every issue of Civil War and every issue of Avengers vs. X-Men,
Yeah, but Avengers versus X-Men is how or is the reason why Kitty and Bobby broke up.
yep, that's right. That was what happened there. Okay, back to the question at hand. Of we'll 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 end this conversation on our favorite movie and our favorite show. So, favorite show for me is going to have to be the Daredevil Netflix series. I just, well, actually, now that we're talking about like the animated ones too, I almost want to say like Young Justice, actually.
I love Young
Like we
Justice.
didn't really talk a whole lot about the DC stuff because DC does animated so much better than Marvel did animated. Or oh no no, that was I don't even know why I didn't scratch all that. Batman the animated series, my favorite show. Period. Um, but yeah, DC does animated so much better. And Marvel has yet to show me that they can put something out as good. As good. There are a couple of one-offs that are good, like Wolverine and the X-Men, X-Men Evolution, um,
Mm,
and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was really good too.
for your favorite
Um,
movie.
what?
For your favorite movie.
I might actually be my favorite movie, superhero wise. I'm kind of like trying to rack my brain through all of them. I liked Far From Home for Spider-Man a lot. Like I really enjoyed Far From Home.
I'm trying to think of the ones that I go back and watch again and again.
Justice League Unlimited was also really good. I agree, Monkey. Um,
Whoops.
but yeah, I would actually say yes. Into the Spider Verse is probably my favorite movie. Funny that that would end up that way.
The
Honestly,
animation was amazing.
it.
Like if I don't want to copy you, so I'm not going to say that one.
Uh,
But that one I love it for the art alone. And not that the story isn't great. The story is great. Um Otherwise for movie, I watched Doctor Strange I think the most.
really?
It had that like Inception vibe, and I really liked Inception, so I've seen Inception like 8 times. Um, Thor Ragnarok I will watch just because it's funny. And Black Panthers if I'm actually sitting there and watching it for the costumes. But I think for the most part, like, out of all the superhero movies, I think I've watched Doctor Strange the most,
Okay.
which I know is probably really weird, but,
If I
um
chose like like a live action movie, I think I would go Thor Ragnarok.
'cause it's so funny!
Well, and it's so that's another movie that's just filmed beautifully as well.
I love that one. I'm very
You
bad
could
about
say
picking
that Thor
favorites at this point.
Ragnarok was hella good.
I'm funny, okay? And I had to fake laugh at that joke, but you couldn't even fake laugh at my joke before? Whatever.
Sorry.
Anyway, and then my favorite TV show. Oh man, I'm so bad at picking favorites. Because I mean, it usually is just whatever I'm watching at that moment as kind of my favorite. I watch X-Men Evolution a lot in terms of rewatching. I rewatched, or I want to rewatch Young Justice again because I hadn't seen the third season.
See, I
Still have
know
not.
what your favorite show is, and I'm surprised you don't know what your favorite show is.
What's my favorite show?
So, guys,
Firefly. But
Anna's favorite
Firefly.
show is Smallville.
Oh my god, I do love Smallville! I have it all on DVD! I've
Uh,
seen it so many times! Ah, the
yeah.
bug guy, though, in the first season, still my least favorite episode because it's so gross every single time.
Yeah, see, I've only watched it through once, so I really don't remember the bug guy.
Oh my god, no, I've seen it so many times throughout. Sarah got me the full box set, and it came with this really cool book and this newspaper article thing that made it look like it was the Smallville newspaper. It was so good. Like the torch, not the actual, like,
Yeah.
Smallville newspaper.
Yeah.
You right.
Yep. I know I am. See, I know you. I know you.
I'm so bad at picking stuff. It's really yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like, there's so much content out there right now that a big question that maybe we'll talk about at some point is there too much content? We're not going to talk about it now because
Yeah.
that is a whole can of worms that I know we can argue for a while. You know what I liked about the Smallville show? They showcased the speed difference between Clark and Barry. Yes,
They do.
I
Although
agree.
I'm pretty sure it's Bart, not Barry.
Oh yeah, that is Bart. It's not Barry in Smallville. Kind of like how the Flash in Justice League. I want to say the Flash in Justice League is Wally, right? Justice
No, I thought it was
League.
Barry.
It's not Barry. I
It's
know
not
it's
Barry?
not Barry.
Well, then that's good.
It is indeed Wally.
I love Wally. Find
I
Wally adorable.
Barry Allen, man. I love Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Um,
Bart was my least favorite out of the 3, the main 3. However, he is fantastic in Smallville because everyone's fantastic in Smallville, and the Green Arrow is great in Smallville,
yeah, he
and
was in
the few
Smallville too.
times he was
And
a big
Aquaman.
character in
Yeah, he
Smallville.
was a big
Aquaman was
character.
funny.
Yeah. Aquaman
And
was funny.
when I made dad watch the first episode you see him in, and he just lost it with how he was dressed. I go, yeah.
All right. So we got to talk about our book ratings for our first set of books. So for my choice, Amazing Spider-Man Coming Home. I rated it overall a 9 out of 10. You rated it overall a 9 out of 10.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. That's fine. But that means I lose.
And then Robin War, I I rated overall a 5 out of 10, and you rated overall a 5 out of 10.
I feel like such an unoriginal score.
Well, so looking back on it, you and I on Robin War were going back and forth between a 5 and a 6 like the whole time. And I think at the end of the day with Robin War, it wasn't a good pick up a book
First
and
timer,
read.
yeah.
Yeah. If Wally managed to run from the source. Yes, I know. I know, Monkey, that Wally's the fastest man ever. But I liked
And
Barry
yet
Allen's
they
personality.
they screwed him over in Young Justice.
Is Young Justice isn't Wally?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Wally is Kid Flash.
Oh, okay. Anyways, um, Umbrella Academy. I think we just didn't understand it enough. I gave it a 6 out of 10. And that was me saying I'm being generous. And I think I gave it the extra point for the sheer fact I think I actually said I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I would give it a 5 out of 10, but I'm giving it the extra point because I think I'm just stupid. And then you gave it a 5 out of 10. Monkey cried from Young Justice. I cried in Young Justice too.
Me too, although I'm a very emotional watcher. So I feel like I cry at the drop of a hat when I'm watching something.
Same,
So
same. And then Pokemon Adventures. Um, I gave an 8 out of 10 overall, and you gave a 7 out of 10 overall. And I think the only thing that really scored that one not a 9 out of 10 is that the art didn't just like wow me.
mhm.
Like it was fun, but meh. So, for our first round of books, your books, you got a cumulative total of 25 points out of a possible 40. And
Wow.
out of 40, I got a cumulative total of 29 points. So I just barely eked out ahead of you.
I wouldn't say that's just barely,
Four
but that's
points. 4 points. Like let's do the percentage math because because I think like percentage wise, 29 divided by 40 is 73%. 25 divided by 40 is 63%. So 10% difference overall. I don't think that's bad. I think
yeah.
considering how little I liked Robin Wars, it could have been worse. And I think I just chose a really strong first book, and I think I got first book advantage here a bit as well because it
Yeah.
was the first ratings that we did.
Yeah. Well, next time it'll be interesting because I feel like all of the book I feel much more confident about the books that I chose for this one, given I've never read that manga again, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah. And just as a reminder, we're doing our best to choose one thing that we um, one thing that we have read and one thing that we haven't read for each group. So Anna's has read is House of M. My
Mhm.
has read is Legends of Vox Machina Origins. And the other two we have not read before. So it will be a brand new adventure for half of those books.
For
So
me, it will eventually be that I haven't read, like,
both
both
of
of
them.
them.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be like that for me as well. There are some books where I'm like, ooh, I want to reread this, or ooh, I want to make Anna read this, kind of thing. So just a reminder for next week, we are going to be reviewing House of M. The following week after that, so next week is going to be the 1st of February, I believe. Yeah, 1st of
Yes.
February. The 8th will be reading Zatanna, the Paul Dini series. The 15th will be reviewing Legends of Vox Machina Origins. And the 22nd of February, we'll be doing Witch Hat Atelier for our manga. Which means the 1st of March will be our next episode that's like this, where we pick a random topic on comics and talk about it for, in this case, an hour. Yeah, I think I still need to figure out like maybe like a dare wheel kind of thing.
I have
Like
3 ideas saved that I need to send you, but yeah, for a punishment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll think of some funny, goofy things that we can do. I just thought of one that could be like you have to wear a onesie with the hood up for an entire episode recording.
You have the onesie. Nobody bought me a Christmas onesie.
Oh, I thought you had one. I mean, we can fix that. That's not a.
I think I used to have a Chewbacca one.
Yeah,
And it
that's
got a hole.
actually what I thought you had too. So okay. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us once again. Make sure to keep your poll lists full and read as much as you can. We'll catch you next week.
Shalom-Aste!
Oh, and find us on Instagram. It's BenPie or Twitter or whatever. Anna's AC. What's your stuff? Aridic Designs. Cool. Bye.
Yay!
Oh my god. What have I done? What is this?
What happened? What'd you do?
Nothing. I'm just dumb.
What'd you do?